Guys, this is the 2016 Chicago Vintage and Custom Drum Show with Vintage Drum Stock. We'll be back. Hey there, vintage drum collectors. Jim Messina here for Vintage Drum Stock. I'm coming to you from the 2016 Chicago Vintage and Custom Drum Show. I'm here with my friend Mark Cooper, famous drum collector. How you doing, Mark?
Good to see you, Jim, as always.
How's the show going?
Fantastic.
All right. We're doing some great presentations, and we want to look at this bass drum here. And I chose Mark to look at this because he's got a lot of knowledge about these rare finishes. Mark, why don't you tell us about this finish on this bass drum?
This Ludwig and Ludwig bass drum is finished in Peacock pearl, and Peacock pearl was obviously a beautiful finish that first came out about 1929, and it was discontinued roughly around 1934. And this is a stunning example of Peacock pearl. It's seldom in this such vibrant condition as this. It fades very easily. A lot of these colors disappear over time. This drum obviously was kept in the dark for most of its life, apparently. It's just amazing the condition this is in.
It's very vivid. Some of the examples I've seen, they've gone brown.
Yes.
Just
depending on the type of light it received, certain colors would fade out and disappear entirely.
So now this is Ludwig and Ludwig,
yes.
Peacock pearl. Other types of finishes I've seen like this, like the Leedy version, would be called what?
Pretty much the same thing. They refer to theirs as rainbow pearl.
Rainbow pearl,
and
okay.
There are different variations over the years. Different batches of this material would vary in color slightly, but
now there's a Peacock pearl. I guess it has a lot of teal in it.
Yes.
Very striking. I don't know if it's a later version, but it really doesn't resemble this like that.
I think it's just an example of a different run every year or during that 5-year period. It's never going to look the same, obviously.
So, when did they stop making this?
Roughly 1934.
34.
And at that time, the fancy exotic finishes were becoming less and less popular or in favor for the more standard finishes you see later on in the 1940s.
Now, the owner of the drum said that there were lights inside originally. I looked inside the vent hole, and I'm not sure whether there's any evidence of that. I couldn't see it.
Well, they could often which is a good idea. They would mount them by just extending wires to the inner screws, so that they didn't have to drill a hole, and they would suspend the lights or the light fixture.
It also has the paper tag inside.
Yes, and speaking of that, the cord would have come out right of the air hole. Again, no extra drill holes necessary to do it.
Now, this particular drum, we have just one long bar and a center post, which makes it single tension.
Yes.
Where does this drum fall in as far as the models?
This was a bit lower model. They didn't have that many versions. There were like 2. Their top of the line version would have had a tubular lug and one of these on each side so that it could be tuned from both sides. And that was just a more expensive option.
Now, we were looking at these spurs earlier, and you made an observation about them. This is a Ludwig and Ludwig bass drum, but
right.
What's with these spurs?
These are Slingerland Sure Grip spurs that are normally seen on Radio King drums in the late 30s, early 40s. No relation to Ludwig at all. It's just.
I'm surprised this rubber tip is in such good shape. Is that original?
That's original. Yes, they came in black and they also came in white, and you could. There's a screw here where you can take that off and remove the entire.
There's the screw right there.
And of course, it has a sharp, very lethal end on it here. Don't point that at anyone. That's extremely.
Yeah. And a flat side for it to grab out too.
Yes.
Huh. Very interesting. Now I don't know why they put these on a Ludwig and Ludwig drum, but I'm sure it was a utilitarian.
Yeah, exactly. And they're very reliable. And they were made later. At this time, in the late 20s, early 30s, all that was available were very simple, not very utilitarian spurs. So this would be a step up for a working drummer.
And we've got what, all nickel?
Nickel hardware.
I think this drum would clean up very nice as far as the
would,
lacquer.
yes.
This is all pretty standard chipping, and
If I were to restore this, I would take everything off of it, polish the finish to get all the oxidation and crud and
I'd
whatever.
love to see that done.
And this I would put on a buffing wheel to bring this back to
Yeah.
what it looked like in 1929 or 30.
It's actually in really
Beautiful,
great
beautiful
shape.
drum.
It's a good example.
Original heads, looks like.
It's a 28 inch.
28-inch calf head.
Yeah.
Just a beautiful
So this
example.
is something for sale at the show here. These are the kind of things that you can see at this show. We've been looking around today. We've seen some really cool 1920s, 30s pieces, and we're looking forward to some more. Mark, thanks for your opinion on this great drum. It's one that I hope will move today. So
It's a beauty.
why don't you buy it? No, maybe I'll buy it. I don't know. Anyways,
No, I want it.
Jim Messina, Mark Cooper for the Vintage and Custom Drum Show, Chicago 2016. We'll be back with more.